Hello everyone, and welcome to what is my first build progression video of a Sims 4 building that I did. It turned out being a cafe, as I actually wasn't originally designing it to be that. I was thinking kind of a pub, only for the reason for my Sim to have spend his birthday on, but because in this town apparently there's no building, so I had to end up making something. But I ended up making a cafe because the theme just sort of ended up turning out that way. Usually my palette kind of revolves around a rustic theme with kind of classical buildings with slanted roofs and nothing too geometrical like modern buildings, but this ended up being just that, and it actually turned out quite nice. And now Sims 4, I've been hearing, doesn't have as much customization as the third game, and I actually know that by some experience, although I mean, actually I don't have much building experience in the fourth game, but I did make it turn out quite nice. So, fortunately I was able to make it work. And see, the main idea I had for this place was just for the outdoor section. I wasn't sure what the inside would turn out to be, but I figured out something in the end, and then it all just came together with luck. And see, I wanted to use a lot of pillars because recently I saw an image about that, and I thought I could incorporate that a bit. So pretty much everything from the patio up is just kind of made up on my own. I kind of had to use some images in my photographic memory just to kind of bring it back to that modern feel. Just mostly randomly geometric shapes placed around. Yeah, the exterior looks much different than it does now. I was just kind of automatically putting stuff down and wasn't really sure what to do at the time, so I was just kind of laying things out, just get a sort of general idea of what it would look like. I had some time to play around with the building, or the buildings and all the different types of tools in this, because yeah, I don't have much time actually using it, but I'm really surprised that I came out with something cool in the end. That's probably the only reason why I'm showing it. So in the front here, I wanted to have a lot of earthy sorts of colors, just very warm to complement the grayness of the stone on the outside. And let's see, here I'm kind of placing a bit of tables there, although that's going to end up getting moved because I thought it'd be kind of realistic for a cafe or a bit of a restaurant kind of thing to have an entry and an exit, so that's just right there. And playing around with everything was really fun, just seeing what sorts of just furniture and other tools could be worked into this building. And here I thought a very calm sort of lighting would work, instead of anything too obnoxious, just something very subtle to go across at night, that is. So most of these tools I'm just messing around with, I haven't even seen before, and I'm just kind of throwing it in there. And some ideas here I'm just kind of improvising, just seeing what works and removing what doesn't. And yeah, at this point I still don't know what I'm going to do for the inside. I'm just really focusing on this exterior here. And then, so yeah, finally, it said I should probably work on the inside now because I've focused on the outside long enough, because it's kind of looked down upon to not or unequally work on projects instead of gradually building it up. So finally decided just to get working on it. And a lot of the things just flowed together naturally. I'm quite glad with what it turned out. I'm actually very happy with how it turned out. Just probably just a lot of mistakes turned into happy accidents. And here I had just stumbled upon this barista station, so I was very happy to find that. And gladly threw that in. And unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't aware of how to actually change the wall heights until the end, so I ended up having a building with just 2 stories and a ceiling that went all the way up those 2-story sides. And I think the only reason for that was to have it very open, because I'd never done a 2-story tall sort of building. I wanted to make it very, very open to the outside, because I feel that's kind of what modern buildings do. That's sort of their signature feel to it, while still retaining that geometric shape. A bit of the inspiration didn't come from cafes as much as it did restaurant interiors. I just kind of shrunk it down to a small scale and worked with it there. Yeah, here I kind of had a bit of struggle with, let's see, what is it, an oven cover, or actually, yeah, stove cover. Soon after this, and here I don't think this is the most professional way to work at it, but I'm just kind of going at it with the skills that I currently had. So yeah, here I wasn't aware of that ceiling height adjustments, so I'm just ending up awkwardly putting a stove cover that is like 8 feet above it unnecessarily, which I was quite bothered by, so I ended up putting down these walls. And when I saw this, it really started coming together. Now that shape just kind of added everything, I think. Yeah, when I saw that, that just really got my inspiration going. Or it was really inspiring, that is. And see, normally, I see this in a lot of my buildings, ranging from Minecraft to The Sims. I use pillars as a sort of foundation area to kind of establish the grounds of the buildings and the houses that I usually do. But this time around, I wanted to change it up, just so it wasn't too repetitive. Because at this point, I'm quite happy with how the front area is turning out, but then I still didn't have an idea of where I'd put the restrooms or any of the other tables. So here I'm just kind of having fun with looking around everything. I'm quite surprised with the variety of kind of countertop stuff that they had, so just a lot of fun looking through and just throwing whatever was necessary inside, just to kind of fill that empty space up and make it a little bit more alive. It's quite unfortunate that I wasn't able to view this with the camera mode that you can find in the live mode, because I really wanted to look through it without any of the Sims. Although it does kind of make it more live having the Sims in there, but it was just making it very complicated. Although that's much later. So here I decided that I finally need to add in those restrooms, and they should probably go here. And just instinctively putting down those pillars just because I feel they should. But then I kind of realized that they were becoming too common, so I got rid of those ones on the outside. And just the more I was building, the more it was coming together, and I still think it was a lot of luck of how it turned out to be kind of logically placed. It'd be kind of interesting to set up a small area, or the foundation to the place, and see what else everybody would come up with, just to kind of see their different ideas and how they would fill the interior up. I'm not sure if there's a way to do that, though, because I'm still very new to this building stuff and this game entirely. So my, let's see, the approach that I took with all this building was more of the look of it rather than the game functions, so there's going to be a lot of strange ideas here. Like, for some reason I couldn't find it's some type of proper bathroom stall, so I ended up just making walls there, or different rooms. And let's see, kind of the barista area, because I think at one point I had my own sim walk around the counter just to grab a drink from the fridge, which didn't seem right, but it still looked alright, so that's kind of the thing I focused on. More the looks rather than the function. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, but I just kind of had to deal with it. This area I wanted to work with some booths, but I didn't find any, so I kind of improvised with just tables and chairs being comfortably placed in between those walls. And it does create the illusion of a bigger space with the walls, and it kind of provides a sense of privacy in between them. And this part is kind of where it really was coming together. Just these light rails and the ceiling part just really helped it out. Yeah, very happy with how this turned out. And I used a few colors for the walls just to give it some variety, so everything wasn't entirely stone, and I'm kind of familiar with that modern sort of feel. Oops, excuse me. I wasn't sure how to get the lighting to work on the first level. I wanted to originally have a hanging light that would dangle from all the way up top and actually cut through the top floor, but that didn't end up working because I don't have anything like that. But they did for raised wall heights, but nothing that was 2 stories, so I ended up adding in just wall lights, although these current ones with the white lighting aren't the ones that I used, because I felt that they didn't have that warm sort of sense to give into the sort of room, so I ended up just scrapping those and giving more of a yellow sort of tone to it, just to make it feel very warm and inviting, and more like a home than just kind of a dead space. So my building process is a little bit kind of random, because as soon as I find a certain thing, I'll just kind of throw it in that area and then start working on that, because it's distracting, but I'm usually quite glad I can find something useful. And then put it in there before I forget it, of course. And yeah, here's where I found those lights kind of bothering me, so I ended up throwing in the warm lighting. I wasn't sure of what specific theme to throw in for this modern building. I wanted to have it just kind of a generic sort of theme. However, it ended up being a slight mix of rustic, with those, especially with those lamps in. Because I do acknowledge that there's different types within the modern theme. At the end, I kind of wish I could have gone for more of a coastal theme with a little bit more oceanic kind of stuff, but it ended up being closer to generic, which was quite alright. I hear the grain of the table is really bothering me, so I had to rip it out of the wall. I think I did notice some limiting factors from this game to the third game. A little bit more than just the way you can customize walls, clothes, and everything else. But also the placement of things, I think. Or perhaps not. But I did find the free move tool very, very useful by holding down the Alt key. Here I originally wanted to have kind of a bar-like sort of thing on the right side that leads out to the door, or the door that would be there eventually. Although I'd figured that space was a little bit too confined, so I've eventually just had to move it to the front there. And see, there's a lot of open wall space, so I wanted to fill that up with some nice art. And anything big that would just kind of fill it up, just so it wasn't so empty. Although that's quite nice to kind of show off the geometric shapes of the building. And this part, it's usually quite fun just to see what I can throw in there. So here's just a lot of this. I should be trying out the different paintings and just to see what works. Nothing too interesting. Not the next few minutes or so. Here I was kind of bothered by the very dim lighting. compared to the outside, it was alright, but I wanted to have a little bit brighter in there because a restroom doesn't seem like the place to be very dim. It could be, but for a cafe like this, I had to fix that. Yeah, I ended up changing these walls as well. Just so it was a bit more home-like. So at this point, I'm feeling very confident in the building and its success. So a lot of it's just sort of aesthetic. The main foundations are set down and everything is seeming to come into place. So it's all quite natural from here. Here I finally discovered the Java sign, so I was really happy with that to incorporate that. So it was really relevant to it, and fit perfectly on the front side, fortunately. Or I eventually find it, yeah. Yeah, there it is. It's quite nice, although I'm pretty sure everybody uses that for their cafes. Here I kind of realized that it's not quite as open as I'd like it to, and I kind of want to utilize the second story. So here, just deleting some more pillars because I'm realizing how obnoxious they are sometimes, and replacing them with just those sharp corners, and putting in some open windows just to make it much more open. And I was really happy with how that just kind of brightened up the place, just to let in more natural light come in than actual it's kind of man-made. I really like to incorporate nature into my building, so lots of foliage was added around the edges later on. And I had an empty space in there, as you can probably see on the second level, and I wasn't sure what to do with that because I knew that it would glitch out and it wouldn't let me actually work with it, so it ended up just being a dead empty space, which kind of worked out because that kind of represented like an office space for like a manager. So a little bit more realistic there, apart from game function. Plus it kind of helps to prevent it from becoming overcluttered with just a whole bunch of space, although it doesn't hurt to have. But just to give it some variety. And the idea I had for the roofs was mainly going to be flat, I thought, but that ended up changing because of more happy accidents. Yeah, I thought I had a good idea here with just adding, or bringing up those pillars and having them kind of come over the top of the roof. Thing is, it kind of made it ugly from the top, so I had to fix that. So it would look quite nice from below, although from the top there's just kind of a mess of walls, so I wanted it kind of nice from every view. So they had to go. Eventually. So I'm just kind of bringing the same concept around to the entire building. I'm actually quite surprised with how tall this building turned out just for 2 stories. Although then again it was 4 in the end, I think. Or no, it was actually 3. So, actually that's pretty good then. Although it does end up looking pretty huge for a place like this. Although in a realistic sense, I guess that would be kind of natural. Especially with all the ventilation, I guess. And other things that go in there, like a manager's office. Or manager's offices and other stuff. Right here, the top was bothering me so much, so I ended up just throwing on a slanted roof. but that ended up making another problem, and that was that it didn't cover everything, so I think I ended up trying to fix it. I'm not sure how I tried to fix it, but it ended up not working, so scratch that idea. And I ended up covering the cover-up with another cover-up, and that was just another slanted roof. And that helped much more, although that did end up leaving the same problem. So in the end I just ended up throwing on an extra bit of wall there, just kind of replicate, or actually represent, just some sort of machinery that would be at the top. And that actually did help very well towards giving it more shapes, because there's lots of triangles and lots of sharp corners there. Nothing too curvy, although that does kind of show up in modern buildings. But to make it easy on myself, I just stuck to the usual cubicle stuff. And I remember having a lot of troubles with this sign. I couldn't get that wall height good enough, just for a few times. This place, yeah. I wanted to give it a chimney just to make it look cute and stuff, although that ended up making it look very dark, because it ended up looking like a factory from the outside, especially with those roofs, so quickly scratched that idea. And kept that vent, though, just to make it a little bit more realistic. And some more windows to fill up that empty space, just so it wasn't too empty. Not that it actually does anything for the indoors, of course. And I'm not really familiar with the window placement for modern buildings, although it's mostly just kind of a personal touch to it. And here I wanted to extend out this sort of empty area, because I wasn't aware of how glitchy it would kind of be. I don't know, actually, probably not a glitch, but it's just a very difficult game function I couldn't get down, so I just had to end up ignoring that. Because I did want to have it just open instead of having 2 layers of glass or windows, and just having an unnecessary blank space up there. But I just had to deal with it, and ended up just making it a very hollow room. Yeah, with no access, of course. It's just for looks, that's all for now. And here I'll be finishing up the building very shortly. And here we go. The exterior, so I added a parking lot and a bit of a back area to enter. And I changed the white trim of the ceiling and added some orange roofs and lots of foliage around the area, which really made it look nice. Yeah, some of the colors will be changing there, just to make it fit well together. And on the inside here, we have, let's see, not much changed. A bit of the seats kind of changed colors, and a bit more of the interior, but not too much different from what it originally was. And first person look here, it looks quite nice on the inside, surprisingly. Unfortunately, some of the weird game glitches makes the ceiling look awkward, but still gets that general idea across of what it was. So yeah, a very open area. It was a very small space, but kind of used it as much as I could. Just to give it a lot of seating. And just sort of a break area for people to stop by, maybe have lunch or something. And here in the bathrooms around the corner, there's not much going on there. I didn't change much other than the walls, the colors of the doors, the floors, and nothing much else. I'll say I'm not very eventful there, but just a very general sort of restroom area. And here's a sort of view of where the workers would have a look. Just a centralized sort of area. And a back area there that kind of leads to the back door. And yeah, I was very happy with how it turned out. And there's just one last view of the interior. And here's just a few panoramic shots of the exterior, just to kind of end the video. So yeah, as I said before, I don't have much experience with building these kinds of things, although in some manner of luck I managed to pull this thing out of my head. It was just sort of slowly constructed itself out of sort of a natural feel. So yeah, sort of a building that I could picture being on the coast of something with a nice view of a beach, which kind of reminds me of giving it that more of a coastal interior design. So that's it for the video, and I hope you all enjoyed. So thank you, and bye.